Hello, lovely people, and welcome to the Healing Invoker. My name is Dorina. I'm a mental and emotional fitness coach, but I'm also known as Phoenix. So I help people deal with their emotions, and the tools that I use are journaling, in my intuitive gifts, and numerology. And this is why we have this channel, because it was mainly focused on numerology, but there are all types of healing modalities and tools that can be used. So I hope you enjoyed the last video. As the year is ending, there's a lot of aspects that have been happening for each and every one of you. So one thing that people don't talk about is the challenges that they have in their lives. And the challenges are very dependent on your karma. And that's why I find numerology a wonderful tool, because there's a way you can find out what your karma is and what struggles you have in this lifetime. So before I get into that, I just want to let you know that if you would like to work with me, you can work with me through the Aura app, and you can also work with me on through my website. So you can either email me or work with me through the Aura app. The Aura app is an amazing app. It started as a sleep hypnosis app for people who have trouble sleeping, and then it morphed into a wellness app. So there's all types of things. You can find religious prayers, you can find meditations, you can find series. I have a journaling series on there as well. I coach with the app and I create content for the app. So it's just very wholesome. Now, with that message out of the way, let's get right into it. So numerology is the science of numbers. Every number has a vibration and a meaning. And let me tell you, numbers do not lie. I prefer numerology because you do not need someone's time of birth. So basically, you're just working with their name and their date of birth. And sometimes I just get the energy of the person or understand who the person is just by their numbers. So speaking of numbers, did you know that each of us have karma coming into this world? When they're basically the lessons that we're supposed to learn when we come through. And the reason why I feel called to talk about karma is this year I've had two of my clients, I did a reading for them, and they did not have any karma at all. And that was the first time I've come across this in the years that I've been practicing numerology. So that I found that very interesting. And so speaking of zero karma, I'm going to start with the number 0. So when people do not have any karma in this lifetime, their job in this lifetime is to be in the highest form of alignment, meaning that they're not supposed to be on the beaten path. They're supposed to come and enjoy life and do whatever it is that they want to do, because they're supported. There's not going to be that many obstacles. The only obstacle that they may have is maybe life circumstances and the things in their head. So for people who do not have karma, it means that they've done their work, and their job is to inspire people, is to be here on a clean slate. And usually when I tend to meet people like that, they're usually loved by a lot of people, and they have a lot of wisdom and depth that a lot of people do not have. And because they do not have any karma, most of them are the ones that I've met are quite spiritual and help guide people to live in their truth, in their authentic truth. And I find that very beautiful. But some maybe do not even know that they don't have karma, and maybe things in life have not been well for them. But then some of the circumstances that they're in is something that they created because they feel the responsibility of other people's responsibilities, if that makes sense. For example, if you are a child and you feel responsible for your parents' emotions, or you feel responsible for other people when you should actually be living your life. I'm not talking about motherhood, fatherhood, or any of that thing. I'm just saying that most people tend to take on burdens that do not belong to them. Moving forward, if you have karma with the 1, it means that you struggle with leading yourself. You struggle with starting things. You struggle with basically allowing yourself to be innovative and be a pioneer. So it's like you struggle with leadership in general. And for those with 2 karma, most of them struggle with relationships. They may not have that many friends, or they find themselves actually crossing other people's boundaries, or crossing their own boundaries by giving too much and not receiving anything in return. And that usually shows up in their relationships with people, in their jobs and everything. So people with the number 2 tend to also struggle with connecting with people. So now moving on to 3. So people who have karma 3, basically what they struggle with is their creativity, embracing themselves, embracing their essence, and communication. So they may find communication or communicating quite difficult, and even with their creativity. So that is 3. So if you have karma 4, that means you struggle with stability. Like your life has not been very stable. You struggle to create maybe financial stability for yourself, or you have been in situations where things have not been the best, and it's been really hard for you. So that your karma is to work through building foundations that last. And for those of you who have karma 5, you struggle with, some of you struggle with your sensuality. Some of you struggle with wanting to travel. Some people struggle with sticking to one thing at one time, basically. And people with 5, there's a lot of travel involved and stuff. So it's like you feel kind of closed off. And those people with karma 6, they usually struggle with their family. They struggle with nurturing. So they're people who give so much of themselves that they end up being depleted. They're the people who would give up their lives for other people, and then that can be a problem because then they have a lot of resentment because they ask themselves, why aren't people reciprocating? And they also struggle with people pleasing. They struggle with the relationships within their families, or they might come from families that are very volatile and very demanding. So if you have karma 6, this would maybe make sense. So for those people with karma 7, you struggle with your intuition, you struggle with learning, you struggle with introspection, and you realize that there are lots of things happening, and then you kind of veer off the path and only to come back to the path again. And then you ask yourself, why is this happening to me over and over again? So people with 7, it can be pretty intense as well. And people who have karma 8, money comes as quickly as it comes and as quickly as it goes. And it can be really annoying because you may actually be good with money, but you struggle with maybe your jobs, with your partnerships, or partnerships don't last. And people who have 8 with them, they are the karma. So imagine if you're an 8 who has a karma of 8, who's also born on the 8th or 17th or 26th. So you can imagine how annoying that is, because then it's like it kind of balances out in that sense. But it's the partnerships, it's money, it's believing in yourself, dreaming big. So then you always feel like you have these obstacles. It can be really annoying. And those guys with karma 9, most of them struggle with, they're very humanitarian, they like to give and stuff. So they struggle with overgiving, because think about 9. 9 is 3 times, 9 is 3 times, right? So basically they may struggle with communication, they may struggle with family, and they may struggle with actually being humanitarian or like helping people or putting themselves out there. So they sometimes struggle with embracing who they are. And some people maybe have karma, it depends, could be, usually it's 1 to 9, but then if you have 11, if it happens to add up to 11, then that means that you struggle with self-acceptance and struggle with mastering things about yourself. And for those with 22, it's about mastering balance or being really good at what you do and accepting people, accepting help. So that could be something. And if it's 33, then it's similar to what the 6 goes through, which means there's family involved, there's struggling with nurturing, and then feeling like you have to always be or assist people all the time to your detriment. So how that works when with the numbers, think about your birth date and think about your life path number. And when you, sometimes people, even if you have the karma, it'll balance out because maybe your birth date has that number or your life path number, life path has that number. So somehow it'll balance out. Maybe that's your karma, but at the same time, it kind of balances out, meaning that it's not going to be as heavy because you already have those numbers. For example, if someone's born on the 17th and their life path 17th of whatever month, and then their life path 3 and their karma is 8, so they're not going to be as affected because that karma 8 coupled with the 3 becomes an 11. So they, in order to unlock that, they have to master themselves and know where their blocks are for them to come out of that karma. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, so karma is good and it can be bad. So there's good karma that they call dharma, and then there's bad karma, which is karma at the same time. So do not worry too much about these things. These are just signs, or it's just like a footnote, just letting you know, okay, I struggle with this. What do I have to do to get there? So if you want to know if you want to know your karma, if you want to understand yourself a little bit more, book a reading with me. I'm going to put the link down below for you to view it. And I could do a reading for you, and then we can see where your karma lies and what to expect and how to heal that. So I'm really looking forward to having you there. And yeah, that's it for today. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you're watching this. And please remember to like and subscribe and comment, because then it helps let YouTube know that this is an interesting topic. So if you comment, it'll boost, and remember to like and subscribe. So thank you for being here, and remember to do better, be better, and feel better, and above all else, acknowledge where you are now.